Hi everyone, today we are going to talk about Codex, how to get started with it, and how you can actually start building right away. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is technically go to Codex website and download it for your computer. Now once you download it, you will land up into this interface where very simply you are on the Codex part and you can ask it to do stuff. And more or less it looks very close to what ChatGPT would look like, and that's what they're trying to go for here. Now the one thing that you can do just to get started, we are going to select a project. Now project here is technically just simply a folder that you can select on. So very simply, if you select on add new project, I'm going to simply select a project called Codex Demo, which I created for this, which is an empty folder. Now, before giving an instruction, you can switch out your models from here. So you can select different models. You also have access to older models that they have released, and you can choose between a fast and a standard speed. Fast means you are doing tasks that needs immediately to be done, and that's when you are really working at 1.5x speed, but that also makes sure that also cost more tokens and more usage as required. But then we can select the intelligence level. I am good with medium right now, and I'm going to select their latest 5.5 model. Another option that you have here is to also choose the permission set. So you have the default permissions, which means that every time you will have to give it access. Then there is auto review, right? Again, where simply it will automatically check and only bring you some request, and then it's full access, where technically that means that it has access to everything, and obviously that's why it shows in this orangish color, because technically that means that it can do anything that it wants on your computer. And right now we are okay with that. Again, I'm going to start with my favorite and the simplest option here. Build me a tic-tac-toe game in HTML with Star Wars style colors and icons. I'm going to press enter, and now you can see it's going to start building that. It also shows up an option for a browser, and let me show that to you. Where is that visible? So you can see here on the right hand side it has an inbuilt browser, which means that I can just say chatgpt.com and I can load a complete web page here on my site. So literally this is a complete browser which it uses for itself to test and run things, but also works like any normal browser would do. So do you want to use it? Maybe, but again, it has some basic features here. Again, not a goal of having a browser, but technically it does exist. Now you can see it is building the game right now, and you can click on the file and it is trying to load right now, but as we all know right now, the code is not ready and it is still writing that. Now, couple of options that you see here is that it's writing files one by one, and you can see the data that is being written here by clicking on that. And you also have the option to click on review changes, which means that again, if you were part of a Git repository here, you can see the difference or the number of lines added. So it has written 442 lines and hasn't deleted anything, which you can switch between two files and look into that. You also get some formatting options where you can hide white space. You can add enable rich preview and disable that. Multiple different options depending on how you want to review this. So it does add a lot of power to you to review everything from single place. As you can see, it is trying to right now test the game itself, and it will complete that. And finally, it is also seen that there is some errors which it needs to figure out and solve that. So we have the game ready here. Again, it's still trying to fix this. There's a couple of changes that it's trying to make because it tested it, checked out the game, and was able to figure out that there are some minor issues, which is fine. Let's try this. So I'm going to click on the final file, and yep, it's not perfect. There is some again minor issues with how the placement is, but then it's fine. I want to see okay, red rings claim victory. That's fine. Again, looks pretty nice, not bad. Just the point that again, it's not perfect, but again, my prompt was super bad. But again, this is where you have the file available. But this is one way of using Codex, which technically lives in the app, and I can just simply come here and come to a new chart and open the sidebar, and you can see in the project itself we have multiple options of the game. So I tried one before and I have another one which we just built right now. So you have the project here, and you can again simply click on open in Explorer and see the whole. Now once the game is ready, you can actually switch and toggle into the sidebar, and you can see I have multiple projects and multiple chats. All your project specific chats are grouped together, so that means you can actually see if you were working on something before and just go back directly to it. But now let's say you might be saying that Akshat, there are a couple of things that I don't want to do here. I want to move back to my favorite code editor, which is VS Code. So Codex allows you the option to also work in VS Code. So let me just open that up. So this is VS Code, as we all know, and the first thing that you want to do is install Codex, right? Again, which is an extension. So go to extensions and search for Codex, and you would want to install the first option that shows up, which is this black beautiful icon, and install the Codex agent. Once you have this installed, you will start seeing the Codex option on the left hand side. If you have multiple options like me, like Claude Code and others, so you'll see all of them. But if you have just Codex, you will see Codex available here. So once you have Codex, it pretty much works normally as any other AI agent works. All you need to do is simply ask it what you want to do, and it will do that. But that is one easy way of using Codex. We have not opened any folder here, so I'm going to go ahead, click on open folder. I'm going to select our Codex demo folder, and now we have the index.html file, which is our tic-tac-toe game. Now let's say I simply want to use Codex here to make this game a bit better, right? Again, so I'm going to say add a light mode to this game and also make the game a bit more better and aesthetically pleasing. Right now it looks like super 1970s, and I like 2026 UI. Again, this is a horrible prompt, but also at the same time, it's the same logic, right? Again, you have the same process, you have the full access, the model, and we are just going to put enter. Now it will automatically be able to refer the context that we are referencing to, because it has option to read this file and understand what we are trying to do, and then make the changes as needed. Now this works normally as any other agent, but also at the same time that if you're using this for the first time, all you need to do is just automatically let it look at the file that you have open, and it will start updating it as needed. And that's all there it is to in using Codex on VS Code. Gives you the power to edit code, and also again, if you want to change something here, you can. And just to be very clear, this is the place where I use Codex the most, right? Again, where I have a lot of projects, and most of the times I have multiple skills and multiple agents which I want to refer to and just work through them. But you can see right now it is again going ahead and changing that up. You can see it will keep updating the file as needed. But I'm going to show you one more way to use Codex, and that is in the terminal. As you can see here, I have Codex loaded here already, right? Which can again do multiple things. I have it part of the demo, and I can just say explain this code base in 2 lines, and it will again go through the folder structure. We are using the same Codex demo to actually see, and just again very simply give me a summary in 2 lines. Now the way to install Codex on your PC is very simply, it's like a super simple command, which is this npm i/g at OpenAI -code. You can install Codex on your terminal using this simple command, and I will reference this command in the description, so you guys can go ahead and check it out. Don't worry about it. But it's a super simple command. Once you put it in, you will have Codex installed, and to launch Codex anywhere, all you need to do is very simply write Codex, and it will launch Codex right there in your terminal. And you have all the options available here. So if I press hyphen, you have again multiple options permissions, again everything else that you might have, skills also, right? Again, so you can see what skills we have available and what we want to use from here. You can see I have a ton of skills, which again is probably installed from multiple places, but again it has access to everything that is needed from here. So you can use it in terminal, you can use it in the app, and we can see that again it also built the new game in VS Code, which looks better than before. It was able to update things and take it from there. So pretty cool. Again, at least I like this. This looks like a real UI. And if I switch to a light mode, not bad and pretty cool. Awesome. So again, you can use Codex from the app, from VS Code, and also from the terminal. But the superpower of Codex is not just this, it's plugins, and I have to tell you about them. Now plugins, very simply, means you can connect to anything in the world. When I say anything in the world, you can see the easiest one they show up is Gmail, but the options are unlimited. And the idea is that you can partner up this with your code, right? Again, so you can add a plugin, and you can say every day create a new tracker, something with your emails from all different inboxes in a single place, or whatever you want. So you can connect different connectors, and you can see there's a massive list of it that is available, and just ask it to do things. And the best way to use plugins is that you can just refer anything. So you can say again, let's say Gmail, and I can say bring me the latest hotel offer from my email. this is like again just a fun prompt, because again I don't want it to read my email, I wanted to find things from my email that actually make sense. So it's going to now try to go ahead into my email and actually pick up an offer. The idea and the reason that I like this a lot is because it brings the power of code to email. And this is just a very simple example. What you can do it is you can ask it to create a daily brief. You can ask it to create something that is like, again, every day it goes through multiple emails and multiple calendar paths and brings you the final output. And you can just have it all in a single place. So you can see, like, again, it's trying to search, it is going to go through multiple emails, and this can be the last place where you run everything. And I can reference multiple plugins also together. I can refer, let's say, to like, a project management tool, a Gmail tool, and I can say, look into the linear tasks and write an email to me. That's it. And it will automatically be able to look into linear, which is my project management tool, bring all of that here and put it in Gmail. So again, you can look at it like, again, very simply. You can see, like, again, you can look at into places and run it. And you can also ask it to run code with your data that is coming in from different tools. So that's perfect. And I'm going to have a whole video on plugins. So hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss that. But you can see it found an email from Malik again. You can also create your own plugin, right, again, which we are going to cover later. But also, in case you want to switch off some plugins, just click on manage at the top and you can switch on and switch off whatever you need. Another option that you have is skills, which is like, again, we have access to multiple massive skills. And you can also see the skills that you have access to. You can see we have a ton of skills available, right? Again, they have the OpenAI docs and also like Imagen. I also have my own skills from different projects which are available here, and you can use them as required. And we can just click on one of the skills and click on try and chat, and you will see that it will automatically refer the skill there. And in case you want to refer any kind of skill, just put at and just select Imagen, or you can, like, also use the / command to look at any skill that you might need. Last but not the least, that is more powerful, is an automation, which is very simply you can run an automation as I have here to, like, run a carousel every day. Or you can also create a new automation to do anything. It can look into your inbox, it can look at, like, I can say look into my Gmail and create a rough title example. And one of the most coolest ones is automation, which is technically running things regularly. And I'm going to create an automation. I'm going to say, like, Gmail reader, and I'm going to use the same logic. Bring me the latest hotel offer from my email every day at 9 a.m. So let's say, like, again, that's all we want. All what we need to do is select the time we want to run this. So I'm just going to keep it to daily, and then you can select the model that you need it for and also the reasoning effort. With that, you can technically, like, again, you need to select a project. I'm going to select the project as Codex demo just to classify it. So you're going to just click on create. Now we have this automation that we can run anytime we want. I'm just going to quickly select on run now. So it can technically, like, again, run right here, and you can see the run happening in real time. It kind of, like, again, creates its own chart and runs that, but the reason being that, again, because you don't have to look at it every day and it just runs automatically, you can ask it to maybe send you an email, maybe send you a WhatsApp message, something like that, whatever you might want to connect with and run as an automation. So again, with that, you get like a massive power of running your code every day. For me, like, again, carousel automation that I have is technically the ability to run a complete carousel on a daily basis and build that, and then approve it, and then it goes out on LinkedIn. And it runs with code plus data, so that is super powerful. And as you can see here, it is automatically going to run this also and bring out the email that it can find from my inbox. But, and you can see it try to find another offer that we have access to again. So again, with that, technically you can run this automation on a daily basis. You can update new automations, and you can also ask Codex automatically to create new automations as needed. And with that, you have pretty much everything that you need to know about Codex. And remember, this is one of the most powerful tools right now on the market. Claude Code is hitting limits faster than ever. Anti-gravity, we don't even know where it is. So this is one tool that brings in the right amount of effort, and in the plan that you have, even in the basic $20 plan, you can actually get the job done. Now, if you're someone who's actually interested to learn how to use AI at work, that means you want to drive real outcomes and not just build prototypes. Or if you're someone who wants to actually increase the output that they do at work on their job, We have a community for you, for professions who are actually interested about this. And we're going to release this in the next 2 months. So if you're interested, just do one thing. Go down in the description. There is a newsletter. Sign up for it. I will send you one newsletter every week with the most updated information on AI, what got released, and how to use it. And also, whenever we release the community over the next 2 months, you will be the first to know. So just subscribe to the newsletter, and I would love to see you in the next one. Till then, I'm Akshat, and have fun building with AI.